What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chip, back at you from RVA Vapes, and today we're talking about the Vaporesso Luxe Kit. This guy is touch sensitive and it's got the awesome Skrr Tank on it. Let's check it out. So today we've got a really cool one, and this is the Luxe Kit with the Skrr Tank from our good friends at Vaporesso. Now they have really stepped up their packaging as well. Open this guy up and you can see packaged very nicely. It's super simple. You pull the mod out, got the Skrr Tank here, and then underneath this plastic you've got all your accessories and goodies and whatnot. You've got your spare glass with your O-rings, and then in here you've got all kinds of cool stuff. You've got a little tank guard which slips over the glass like that, and you can still see your juice. Then you've got spare coils there, and their nice signature micro USB charge cable, instruction manual, and warranty card. So they packed a lot of cool stuff into this. First off, we want to talk about the mod. 5 clicks on, 5 clicks off, just like anything else. The one thing that's really different about this guy is obviously the ergonomic feel to it. You can see it's got the nice rounded edges. Each one of the backs has this different color scheme pattern kind of going on. It is a dual 18650, so you put your thumb in the little slit right down here. It's a full metal construction. As you can see, there's not hardly any plastic on the whole outside of this. There is plastic for the battery door cover, but it sits on there nice and flush. You see it's got a nice 510 connector with the torque screws in it. And then you've got your full color screen right there. So you can see it's locked automatically there, which will allow you to fire it, but it's not going to allow you to change anything. So what you want to do is 1, 2, 3 clicks on the fire button there, and then you can tap the up and down. Now just by tapping that V or their logo there, it jumps right into menu mode. So if I want my variable wattage, I can select that. Go right or left, you can see variable. You got super mode, temp control, variable voltage, constant or custom curve wattage there. You got your bypass mode, your DIY, which is going to be your adjustable power curve. You could do hard, normal, or soft ramp up, and there you go. And then of course you've got your settings. Default, you can set your timer on there. You can do digital, pointer, which would be analog clock, or none. And long pressing that fire button will get you out of any menu. Puff counter, smart mode, auto mode, screen timeout, and you can even turn the key lights up and down brightness. Now this is the coolest thing about this guy, I think, is the vibrate feature, because it's got different intensities, and it's kind of like your DualShock or Xbox controllers, where every time you hit the button it vibrates a little bit just to let you know that it received the input. And you can turn up and down the intensity, and even at that lowest little bit there, it's still very, very lightly visible. But I would probably run it at least halfway to get the full effect, so you can feel it when you actually tap the buttons in place. The next part of this video, we're going to talk about this awesome Skrr Tank. So this thing holds 8 milliliters. It's got 1, 2, 3 airflow control channels and a really nice airflow adjustment ring. You can see it's got these kind of inverted V or U shapes, and those actually raise up over top of this bottom piece here. It's hard to see in the video, but if you take a real close look at it right there, you can see it actually covers over as you swivel it. So it's very well machined. Got your floating 510 connector. the same kind of top, but you notice I'm pulling on it here and nothing's really happening. They've got a really interesting setup with this proprietary drip tip that actually holds that. The drip tip, as you can see, threads right there, and that threads down inside the chimney. So without taking the drip tip off, you can't actually swing the top open. Now this is a 810 size drip tip, so if you want to use any other 810, it'll fit in there, but it's not going to lock that top closed for the filling port. So that's kind of an interesting design feature that I actually really like. Now this tank does hold 8 milliliters of juice, and it's got some really cool design coils going on in here. So if you look down in there, you can see this is your net or strip style of coil, but it's got a big old brass pin in the middle, and that pin is supposed to do two things. It's supposed to cut down on the amount of airflow, obviously, to enhance the flavor, but it's also there as a spitback protection. I guess their idea being that if the juice pops or flies off of the coil as opposed to being vaporized, it's going to get stuck to that brass pin as opposed to coming up through your drip tip on the top. Now the other thing that's interesting is if you look at the wicking holes on this guy, they're really big and there's a ton of them. So you shouldn't have any dry hits or wicking problems with this coil at all. I don't know if you can see that there, but it says it's rated 0.15 and it's best between, or its range is 50 to 80 watts, but it's best between 65 and 75. So not a super high output coil, but right in the range where I think a lot of these mesh coils kind of shine. So now that you've got a good up close look at the menu and everything, we're gonna pull back, have a vape on it, and talk about it. You've seen the menu, and you've seen the touch sensitivity, or the touch feedback, I guess they're calling it. It's got the awesome 2-inch color screen. Obviously the Omniboard chip is phenomenal. This 4.0 version with Instafire technology is pretty awesome. But first and foremost, we're going to talk about the parameters on this guy. From tip to tail, you're looking at 146 millimeters. And then width-wise, you got 47.8 across this way. And then they're saying it's either 30 or 27 depending on which glass you've got on here. So I'm guessing the bubble glass makes it 30 millimeters depth this way. With the bubble glass, it does hold 8 mils of juice, so that's pretty awesome. Dual 18650, 220 watts. And it does advertise a 2.5 amp quick charge, which is a little different, but it's also kind of something we've never messed with before. So all in all, I can't comment one way or the other. It's gonna charge up your full battery in 4 to 5 hours, which is a little bit faster on a normal charge, but with the quick charge, they're saying it's an hour and a half from completely dead to fully charged again. So that could be cool. Personally, I would still recommend using a base style charger, but in a pinch, not a bad option. So let's talk about this guy for a minute. Now, like I said, we showed you the menu and the user interface and the touch feedback sensitivity. Obviously, we love the Omniboard 4.0 with the Instafire technology, and it's got the super player mode. And basically what that means is with the super player, when you hold down your V logo, you've got right there the SP. That's your super player mode. So you put that on, and that's, I think, kind of what they're advertising is their smart mode. So it's gonna run, looks like that right there. When you fire it, you see it's got the disco ball kind of DJ thing on the bottom. Now that we've talked about the mod a little bit, I want to get into this Skrr Tank because there's some really interesting things going on there. We showed you the coils up close and the drip tip, the way it locks in the top cap, so you don't have the risk of the cap swinging open or missing or anything like that. It's really interesting. But the coil system in this guy, which we did show you up close, I'm going to kind of break it down a little bit and give you a little more info on it. So what's going on is the airflow actually comes up through that brass pin that's down inside the coil, right down in the middle of the coil there. And it comes up through the bottom of that and then goes out towards the mesh or the C-cell or the strip and then comes up. But it also acts as kind of a sponge, so that when the e-liquid comes through the coil and pops as it's firing, any large particles are going to catch on that center ring and not allow it to go up through the drip tip. This is one of the coolest looking coils and most well thought out coil designs that I've ever seen. So we really want to make sure that we give it a thorough run through, and that's why it took us so long to get to this video, because I was trying to burn one out. Now, these coils are flax, fiber, and cotton. So I took a page out of the Horizon Tech Falcon book, and it's going to give you more consistent flavor, but it's also a longer lifespan. They did a lot of R&D on the different ratios of cotton to flax to give you the most consistent and long-lasting vapor. The reason that they are saying that they use flax is because it's a high liquid absorption rate, allowing increased flavor, but it's the strongest natural fiber that there is, so that you can get a longer lifespan out of it. Now, as we said, there's 3 different versions of this. There's the QF mesh, the QF strip, which is what I've got in this guy, but they're saying their GT series will fit in here as well. So that would be like the GT mesh and the GT C-cell ceramic coils that are also going to fit in this guy. So that's really cool. I showed you the large wicking channels that they've got going on there. I think they did that too because of the mixed media that they're using there. And they needed more juice getting to the actual heating element, because the flax holds a little bit more juice than the cotton does. Now we're going to talk about the performance of the tank. We told you all the cool gadgets and gadgets and all the different innovations that they've stuffed into this guy. Obviously, 8 milliliters. I love that. Not going to have to fill this guy up as much. The triple airflow around the bottom gives it a nice swoopy kind of airy feel, but it's not too much because of the way that they've got it directed through that brass airflow resistance. The flavor that I get off this thing is just as good as the Falcon tank, and maybe even a little bit better. Not having to run it quite as high. I mean, I'm running this guy at about 65 watts, which is like the low end of their recommended range. Whereas with the triple mesh Falcon coil, you have to run that at like 90 to get anything out of it worth talking about. So it's really kind of an awesome innovation that they've got built into this thing. More than anything, I haven't got a single drop of e-liquid in my mouth, and the airflow feels very smooth, kind of like jet engine type of airflow. It's more of like a smooth, consistent, kind of draw. Now, the main thing that I wanted to test when it comes to the performance of this tank is the coil life. And what I've found is, even though these are what I would consider higher end performance, kind of like your Mesh Pros and the Alpha tank that Geek Vape put out, that's what I consider like higher end, higher wattage, made to be pushed a little bit harder, so they're not going to last quite as long. These guys have actually outlasted them all. I'm getting roughly 5 days on the Alpha tank with the Egyptian cotton in there. I'm getting roughly 5 to 7 days on the Mesh Pro, depending on the juice we're using. This guy I'm getting almost a solid 2 weeks out of. So if you're looking for a large juice capacity and good flavor, longer coil longevity, then I would definitely check out the Skrr Tank from Vaporesso. It's really a nice tank. It's well put together. It's very well engineered. And they even give you the little rubber, tank cover thingy, but it's got holes in it so you can see the juice, but your glass is protected. So it's almost like they've thought of everything with this Skrr tank that they're putting on the Luxe Kit. And it kind of goes well with the fit and finish, because this Luxe Kit has the nicest finish I've ever seen on a mass-produced vape device. Like, it's Lost Vape level of finish. It's a really, really nicely well done mod. But with the screen and the tank combination and everything, it pretty much checks all the boxes. This is definitely probably one of my best buys of 2018 for sure. So, if you want to pick up your Luxe Kit from Vaporesso, I'm going to throw up our coupon code right now. And that's going to give you 10% off at shop.rvavapes.com. And I'm going to throw up all the dope colors that they've got. They've got some really cool finishes on the back panel and stuff like that. The tanks match, so it's really nice. You can see the colors here. And we do have all those available on the website. So make sure you check that out. So, the final rundown for the Vaporesso Luxe Kit is that it is 2.5 very enthusiastic thumbs up. I almost want to give it a 3, but as far as performance goes, it checks all the boxes. Obviously, the Omniboard chip, the bigger, brighter color screen that they've got on here, the fit and finish, nice rounded edges, very good metal construction, feels solid in the hand. The tank that it comes with is definitely a winner. Great flavor, great coil longevity, a ton of features built into this very accurate, very quick Omniboard 4 chip. The added little features that they've got with the spitback protection in the coil, with the 2.5 amp charging, vibration, touch sensitive indication, it checks all the boxes for me. So I'm tentatively calling this my favorite kit of 2018. So if you want a nice high-end fit and finish kit, but you don't want to break the bank on something Lost Vape or something a little more exotic, I would definitely recommend checking out the Luxe from our friends at Vaporesso. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. Please make sure you click that subscribe button so you can see what's going on. We got new reviews every Saturday. And other than that, if you want to smoke, that's your business. If you don't,